What if the ghost haunting your conscience isn't a spirit, but a living, breathing consequence of a secret you swore was buried forever? In The Girl You Killed, USA Today best-selling author Leslie Wolfe delivers a psychological thriller that doesn't just ask who done it, but forces you to confront the far more terrifying question, what did I do? This isn't merely a mystery about a past crime, it's a suffocating descent into guilt, memory, and the catastrophic ripple effects of a single, irreversible choice. From the very first whispered confession in the narration, listeners are trapped in a labyrinth of unreliable memories and present-day peril where every shadow holds an accusation and every familiar face might be wearing a mask of vengeance. Perfect for fans of dark psychological suspense and morally complex protagonists, this audiobook is an addictive, heart-stopping experience that blurs the line between victim and perpetrator until you're no longer sure which side of justice you're rooting for. When successful architect Tess Monroe receives an anonymous photograph of a girl who died 20 years ago, a girl whose death Tessa spent 2 decades convincing herself was a tragic accident, her carefully constructed life begins to fracture. The image isn't just a reminder, it's a declaration of war. As cryptic messages escalate and people from her past resurface with dangerous agendas, Tess must navigate a minefield of repressed trauma and active threats to uncover who knows the truth and what they want from her now. But the deeper she digs, the more she realizes the greatest danger isn't the person stalking her, it's the version of herself she's been hiding from. Wolfe masterfully constructs a narrative where the external thriller plot mirrors Tess's internal unraveling, making every clue discovered feel like a piece of her own soul being excavated. The audiobook narration is instrumental to this effect, capturing Tess's escalating panic and fractured self-perception with a vocal performance that makes her unreliability feel intimately human rather than narratively contrived. You don't just hear her fear, you inhabit her disorientation. What distinguishes The Girl You Killed in the crowded psychological thriller landscape is its unflinching exploration of complicity without absolution. Wolfe refuses to offer Tess easy redemption or clear-cut villainy. Instead, she crafts a protagonist whose guilt is both justified and complicated by context, forcing listeners to sit with uncomfortable moral ambiguity. The antagonist isn't a monolithic evil, but a manifestation of unresolved pain, their motives rooted in losses that mirror Tess's own. Their cat-and-mouse game unfolds through psychological warfare rather than physical chases, manipulated environments that trigger traumatic flashbacks, conversations laden with double meanings, and moments of false intimacy designed to destabilize. Supporting characters deepen the ethical murk: the childhood friend whose loyalty wavers under pressure, the detective whose pursuit of truth feels indistinguishable from judgment, even Tess's husband, whose love becomes another layer of performance she must maintain. Every relationship reinforces the novel's core tension. Can you ever truly atone when the person you harmed can never forgive you? For audiobook listeners, this production is a masterclass in immersive dread. The narrator embodies Tess's psychological fragmentation with remarkable nuance, shifting seamlessly between composed professionalism and raw vulnerability, while secondary voices carry subtle undertones that hint at hidden agendas. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming the psychological intimacy. The echo of footsteps in empty hallways, the distorted ring of a phone at 3 a.m., the oppressive silence of spaces that should feel safe, all ground the emotional stakes in sensory reality. Pacing mirrors the rhythm of repressed memory surfacing, deliberate and tense during investigative sequences, then suddenly accelerating as past and present collide in visceral flashes. Whether you're commuting through twilight or lying awake in the dark, the audiobook creates a claustrophobic soundscape that makes you feel the weight of Tess's secret as physically as she does. It's storytelling as psychological immersion, transforming passive listening into active participation in her reckoning. Ultimately, The Girl You Killed redefines the genre by centering accountability over shock value. It satisfies cravings for relentless tension and shocking reveals while delivering substantive commentary on memory, privilege, and the long shadow of adolescent choices. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete, devastating journey. If you've ever wondered whether some secrets deserve to stay buried, or if facing the truth is worth destroying everything you've built, this audiobook will affirm that healing begins not with forgetting, but with finally seeing clearly. Press play, brace yourself for the weight of recognition, and prepare to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the monster in the story wears your own face. Your next sleepless night isn't waiting in jump scares, it's waiting in the quiet horror of understanding exactly what you're capable of.